reset the filter.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of Digital Fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn. Today's deck is one I'm super proud of that I've been really experimenting with ever since this set launched. This is Sunspots, and the idea behind this deck is we're going full control with Boros, absolutely dominating the board state and gaining an insane amount of value through token synergies of all things, using two brand new cards from Bloomburrow, both talents, Caretaker's talent and Builder's talent, and I am super surprised by just how much Builder's talent has kind of flown under the radar, but it's insanely good in this deck. It's insanely good when you couple it with Caretaker's talent, as long as you're building just the right deck around those cards, and this deck just absolutely swings. Urabrask's Forge, one of my favorite cards of the last couple years, and we get to use it to an insane degree in this deck and do some crazy things. Before we break down the deck, make sure you like the video if you haven't already. I really appreciate everyone that likes my videos. It helps the videos get out to so many more people, and they all take a lot of work, so the more people we get to push this thing out to, the better, and I appreciate the hell out of you guys that help me out with that. Also, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an upload. Tons of crazy deck techs on the way. Duskmourn spoiler season right around the corner. We're going to hit the ground running with that set. I can't wait. Also, be sure to catch me live Monday through Friday over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/quarantinedcapricorn. Because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. Today's video is brought to you by Wonders of the First, but I'll tell you about that later. Let's break down the deck. So this is very quickly becoming one of my favorite new brews. We're basically using Boros control, but we're using a very token-oriented slant to get an insane amount of value off two very specific new cards. So the first of which is a card that I've been in love with ever since early access. This is Caretaker's Talent. 3 mana for an enchantment class. Whenever one or more tokens you control enter the battlefield, you get to draw a card. The ability triggers only once each turn, but if you can get a token to enter the battlefield during your opponent's turn, you can get an extra draw on your opponent's turn, and there are plenty of ways to do that. Level 2 for 1 mana allows us to create a token that's a copy of any token we control, so we can get not only some extra value by making a copy of our best token, but that's also going to trigger the original level 1 ability and let us draw a card when we do it as well. So even just drawing that card for just 1 mana is kinda gnarly, but if we're copying the right token, we get even more value, and it's pretty crazy. And then level 3, we can pay 4 mana to level it up to level 3, and all creature tokens we control get +2/+2. This is a really good way of turning a board full of blockers into an absolutely impenetrable wall of creatures, while also giving us the ability to, pump our team to close the game out in the late game after we've taken control of the board, and now we're building up some creature tokens. So this card is nuts, and almost everything in this deck synergizes really well with it. But another card that is going a little more unnoticed and kind of flying under the radar that works really well with the Caretaker's Talent is Builder's Talent, and this is the white uncommon enchantment class. 2 mana, when it enters the battlefield, you get to make a 0/4 white wall creature token with Defender. So this is really good against any kind of aggro decks, which aggro is absolutely the meta right now. Aggro is just running over everything because not only do we just get standard rotation, and aggro is normally the most powerful deck right after a rotation, but we have so many different tribes that are focusing on an aggro theme in Bloomburrow that everyone's trying to push to their limits. So aggro is absolutely everywhere right now, and getting a 0/4 wall creature token for 2 mana is pretty good when we know we have 2 other levels worth of value that we can get out of this card, even if and when they deal with that token. So level 2, we spend just 1 mana, and then whenever 1 or more non-creature, non-land permanents we control enter, we put a +1/+1 counter on any creature we control. almost everything in the deck is a non-land permanent. So almost everything that we play is going to put a +1/+1 counter on one of our creatures. This allows us to build up our blockers into absolutely huge, impenetrable defensive creatures. Not only the 0/4, but some of the other creatures we'll get to when we talk about the other cards in the deck. But it also allows us to shoot counters onto other tokens that we want to attack with later on in the late game, and just helps us pull out a win quicker than we otherwise would be able to, before our opponent maybe can build back up from a devastating board wipe or something like that. So level 2 can actually be pretty good in this deck, even though it's a control deck and you wouldn't think it would be, just because almost everything in the deck can trigger it. And also keep in mind, you don't have to play it. It's not a non-creature, non-land card. It's any non-land, non-creature permanent at all. It doesn't have to be a non-token. So some of the things that we're going to play are going to create tokens, which will actually trigger this level 2 as well, which is kind of insane. And then for 5 mana, we can level it up to level 3, and when we do, we get to return any non-creature, non-land permanent from our graveyard to the battlefield. That means we can get back a Caretaker's Talent that our opponent already destroyed, and then start to level it up all over again and get that value all over again. We can bring back another Builder's Talent, which can be nuts. But again, almost everything in this deck is non-creature, non-land permanents. So most of everything that's in this deck can actually be brought back with level 3. So playing this on 2, getting a nice defensive creature, getting some value on level 2, and then this inevitability to get, value off of level 3 later in the game, just makes this a very valuable card that I'm kind of losing my mind that this is going so unnoticed. It's perfect in this deck. But we'll start at the bottom of the curve, and I'll show you exactly what we're doing and why these 2 new cards are making this deck insane. So, first off, we've got Yotia Declares War. Comes down for 2 mana on Chapter 1, makes a 0/2 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. That's going to trigger all of our artifact, or rather all of our token synergies, so it's going to draw cards off of the Caretaker's Talent. It's something we can copy with level 2 if we want. It's something that becomes a 2/4 flyer once we level this up to level 3. But it's also an enchantment that makes a creature token. So with Builder's Talent out on level 2, we get to also shoot a +1/+1 counter onto something, and we could even bring it back with level 3 of Builder's Talent from the graveyard if we wanted to. And then on Chapter 2, we get to just tap a bunch of artifacts that we control to use it as removal. Deal damage equal to the number of artifacts that we tap to whatever we want. We can kill planeswalkers, we can kill creatures. And because this deck is going wide with not all of our tokens are artifacts, but enough of them are that we can get some value off Chapter 2, it's really nice being able to get the Thopter artifact token for our token synergies, get a non-creature, non-land permanent for those synergies, and have the ability to, use this as removal. And that's not even counting Chapter 3 that gets to turn any artifact into a 4/4 so that it can swing in and close out a game sometimes. So Yotia Declares War, those of you who have been watching the channel for a while, this is kind of a pet card of mine. Love this card, always looking for ways to abuse it, and this deck uses it super, super well. In addition to Yotia Declares War, we have 4 Legion Extruders, because this is removal that for 2 mana comes down as an artifact and deals 2 damage to any target, but because it's a permanent, it's going to trigger our other synergies. So it's a 2 mana, 2 damage spell that can remove a threat, but that's also going to trigger level 2 of Builder's Talent. It's also going to be something we can bring back with level 3 of Builder's Talent. And because we can pay 2 mana and tap the Legion Extruder, sack any other artifact, probably one of our artifact tokens, and make a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token, that's a way to create a token on the spot to trigger Caretaker's Talent, draw a card. It's something that we can then make a copy of with level 2, make a copy of that 3/3 token if we want with level 2. Those tokens are going to become 5/5s when this thing becomes level 3, and the best part is we can use the Legion Extruder during our opponent's turn to make a 3/3 token on our opponent's turn as a way to draw an extra card on our opponent's turn when we have a Caretaker's Talent down. So it kind of just does everything we want, and it absolutely slams. And being able to make the 𝑇𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑛𝑐𝑒 token with the Yotia Declares War is another way for us to also get some gas, something to sacrifice to a Legion Extruder to start generating those 3/3 tokens. So they work really well together, and they're just amazing. We're also going to run the 4 copies of Lightning Helix just because we're running 𝑏𝑜𝑟𝑜𝑠 and is the absolute best removal. If aggro wasn't so prominent right now, I'd probably try to double down on even more synergies here for our talents. But because aggro is everywhere, even though this card doesn't synergize with what we're doing, being able to run Lightning Helix, kill anything up to 3 toughness for just 2 mana, and get 3 life to pad out our life total can sometimes make the difference in us, you know, increasing our clock by an entire turn, making our opponent have to use an entire extra turn to finally get lethal, and that extra turn could be the turn we need to get to our sweeper or whatnot. So Lightning Helix in the current meta absolutely must include. Moving on to our 3-drop slots, we have 𝑡𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ's Forge, which is the main win condition in this deck. Comes down for 3 mana, it is an artifact, so it's going to matter for those synergies, and it's going to generate a token every single turn to get all of our token synergies every turn for free. It's going to draw us a card every turn off Caretaker's talent without spending any mana. And what's cool too is every turn that 𝑡𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ's Forge is down, it gets an additional oil counter on it, and so the token it's going to make is going to scale and get bigger every turn. It's going to be a 1/1, and then a 2/1, and then a 3/1, and then a 4/1, and at any point in time, say it's a 5/1, we can pay 1 mana to level up our Caretaker's talent to level 2 and make a copy of that 5/1 token, but the copy doesn't get sacrificed at end of turn like the original 𝑡𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ's Forge token does, so we get to keep the 5/1 forever. So if we let the Forge get big and then eventually pop our Caretaker's talent for that 1 mana, we can actually have a pretty big threat that sticks around, or something that can defend with high power and kill a really big attacking creature. So that can be very valuable. Definitely keep that line in mind. But we could just ride most of the time the 𝑡𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ's Forge to victory because it's this inevitability. And whenever we sweep the board, what's great about the Forge is we don't kill our own creatures, right? This thing's still going to keep spitting out a creature that's bigger and bigger every turn. Doesn't care if you sweep the board. So it's the perfect win condition in a control deck that's looking to sweep the board when things get crazy, because it just keeps applying the pressure regardless. And in this deck in particular, because those tokens can draw us cards and get us a ton of other synergy, it's just absolutely insane. In addition to the 4 𝑡𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ's Forge, we're running 3 Thran Spiders, 2/4 reach for 3 mana, and when it enters the battlefield, we get to make a tapped Power Stone token. Our opponent gets one as well, but we actually get a lot of use out of the Power Stone token, way more than I expected when I initially started brainstorming this deck, because the Power Stone token counts as a token, so it's going to draw us cards off the Caretaker's talent. We could make a copy of it if we wanted with level 2 of Caretaker's talent. And when the Power Stone token enters the battlefield, even though it's a token, it's still a non-land, non-creature permanent, so it will trigger level 2 of the Builder's talent and let us put a +1/+1 counter on something. So if we have a level 2 Builder's talent out, the Thran Spider can enter as a 3/5 instead of a 2/4. It can get that counter, or we can just shoot the counter onto whatever we want. And that's already kind of crazy. But what's great about the Power Stone tokens, and, you know, possibly making copies of them with level 2 of Caretaker's talent, is we can use that mana to level up our talents. We have so many just mana dumps in this deck. We can level up Caretaker's talent, we can level up Builder's talent, we can dump mana into Legion Extruder to use that ability every turn. So we always have mana sinks to use these Power Stone tokens on, and they actually become super valuable because of that. Not only that, but the pay 7 ability to look at the top 4 cards of our library and reveal an artifact and put it into our hand, it's not useless. It's not the greatest thing ever in this deck, not as good as, you know, most decks Thran Spider's used in, because we don't have any insanely huge, ridiculous artifacts to find. But we still have enough artifacts in the deck that if we are completely out of gas and we don't have any other options, being able to use that 7 mana sink to just try and find something at least is a nice little bit of extra silver lining value. Moving on to the 4-drop slot, this is where things get crazy. Now, we're running 6 sweepers, 4 of them are Sunfalls. We'll just get that out of the way. I know they're 5 drops, and I was going to do 4 drops first, but 4 of our sweepers are Sunfalls, 5 mana, exile all creatures, incubate X, where X is the number of creatures exiled this way. This card is insane in this deck because the incubate token is going to trigger our Caretaker's talent and draw us a card, which is nuts on its own. But also, technically it counts as a non-creature. It doesn't become a creature until you pay the 2 mana, so it counts as a non-creature permanent entering the battlefield. It's going to trigger level 2 of Builder's Talent, and you know, you activate that synergy for us, which is really nice. But what gets really crazy with this is we've got the 4 Sunfalls, and then we're also using 2 Elder Dragon Wars as our other sweepers, because I really like to use a 6 card, at the very least a 6 card sweeper package in my control decks, so that we have an average of 1 sweeper per every 10 cards, and that usually means we'll hit one by the time we need to cast it mathematically. So 2 Elder Dragon Wars to complement our 4 Sunfalls is perfect, and the Elder Dragon War is amazing in this deck. Not only does Chapter 1 take out almost all of the problematic creatures that aggro is running, but Chapter 2 lets us discard cards to dig and find the cards we need, and those cards that we discard are things we can get back with a level 3 Builder's Talent when we level it up to level 3. So there's even more synergy baked in there. But then it gets really crazy because Chapter 3, we create a 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying, which again will trigger all of our token synergies, draw us cards off the Caretaker's talent, give us a big 4/4 flyer that we can make a copy of for just 1 mana with level 2, which is also gnarly. Those dragons become 6/6s if the Caretaker's talent is leveled up to level 3, all of that stuff. But then the Elder Dragon War just sends itself to the graveyard when it's done. And since it's in the graveyard, if we level up Builder's Talent to level 3, then we can pull it out of the graveyard and start the process all over again. So almost everything we're trying to do synergizes super well with the Elder Dragon War. I do think it's not as good as the Sunfall. Sunfall is just amazing in this deck with the free card draw we can get off Caretaker's Talent. So we are just going to run the 4 copies of Sunfall and 2 Elder Dragon Wars. But man, Elder Dragon War is nuts. In addition to 2 Elder Dragon War in the 4-drop slot, we're running just 1,000 Moon Smithy since it's legendary. This will come down and make a token creature immediately, trigger our token synergies, trigger our non-creature, non-land permanent synergies, and give us a huge token that we can make another copy of with Caretaker's Talent if we haven't leveled it up to level 2 yet. So just a really good way of getting a huge token that can just work with all of our synergies, and we can bring this back from the graveyard with level 3 of Builder's Talent again, so pretty nuts. And then we're also running 1 copy of Archangel Elspeth. It is legendary, so I feel like having 1 of this and 1 of the 1,000 Moon Smithy is better than having 2 of either one. But we can uptick to create a token, which is going to be great. We can -2 to put 2 counters on something and give it flying, which is really good if we need to block against very specific creatures or just get extra damage in to win the game. But then also we can -6 return all non-land permanent cards with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Almost all of our cards are non-land permanents that cost 3 or less. We have 4 4-drops, 4 5-drops, right? And we do have 1 6-drop that we'll get to in a little bit. But all of our talents, they cost 3 or less, and they're permanents. Every single thing from 2 to 3 is a permanent that we can get back with Archangel Elspeth, with the exception of the Lightning Helixes. So even the ultimate can be crazy on her. And then the last card is the Eternal Wanderer, and she is bananas in this deck. She is expensive, but it's a control deck. We're sweeping, we're grinding the late game, it's fine. 6 mana comes down with 5 loyalty. No more than 1 creature can attack the Eternal Wanderer each combat. For +1 loyalty, we get to exile up to 1 target artifact or creature, and then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of that player's next end step. Not only does this help us to potentially temporarily remove a problematic threat on our opponent's side, or get rid of a really nasty token that they have forever, but it lets us replay some of our important artifacts and creatures. We can flicker a Thran Spider to get another Power Stone token, which will also draw us another card off the Caretaker's talent. We can flicker a Legion Extruder, being the best target, to get that 2 damage again. Sometimes we can use the Legion Extruder, tap it, make a 3/3 token, flicker it with the Eternal Wanderer, have it re-enter, do 2 damage to whatever we want, kill a creature, kill a planeswalker, whatever, and then it's untapped again, and we can use its ability to make an additional 3/3 token creature the same turn. So there's some really, really interesting synergies we can do with Eternal Wanderer, and if we happen to get our 1 Eternal Wanderer and our 1000 Moon Smithy at the same time, we can also just flicker that every turn to keep making huge artifact tokens. And it just gets nutty. So Eternal Wanderer is insane, and we haven't even talked about the other loyalty abilities. For 0 loyalty, it can make a 2/2 double striking token. Again, triggers all of our token synergies. We can make a copy of it with Caretaker's Talent if we want. And then -4, for each player, we choose a creature that player controls. Each player sacrifices all creatures they control not chosen this way. So we can kind of pseudo wipe the board with the Eternal Wanderer, make sure to keep our only really good creature. Maybe it's a Thran Spider, maybe it's that token from 1000 Moon Smithy, maybe it's a dragon token, you know, and we don't care if like our 𝐻𝒂𝒄𝐳𝒐 Forge tokens die or whatever. So getting to pretty much wipe their whole board, only let them keep their worst creature, probably a 1/1 token or something, while, you know, getting to keep our best creature when we don't play with a ton of creatures anyway. Super, super good on a card that's already creating ton of value in this deck. So honestly, it's kind of bananas. The mana base is also pretty neat. We're running 3 Sunken Citadels, which can tap for 2 mana of the chosen color that we choose when we play it, if that mana is spent to activate abilities of land sources, and we're doing that for a very good reason, because we're running one-ofs of a whole bunch of utility lands. We've got 1 Restless Bivouac, because it can become a creature, swing in, put a counter on something. When we're in a deck that's looking to just remove all of the threats and sweep the board often, having a creature land that can swing in on a board that is now clear is huge. And being able to use the mana from Sunken Citadel as extra mana to activate that Bivouac is key. But we've also got the Mycosynth Gardens, because we can use the Sunken Citadel to get extra mana for paying the X cost of turning the Mycosynth Gardens into whatever artifact we want. So if we already have an 𝐻𝒂𝒄𝐳𝒐 Forge, we can have 2. Or we could have 2 Thran Spiders if we're desperate for, you know, being able to block flyers. Or, you know, there's just so many things we can do with the Mycosynth Gardens. If we're desperate, we can even make a copy of certain tokens that we have. We can make a copy of the token that comes from 1000 Moon Smithy. It could just be a really good utility land. We've also got 1 Mirrex that can color fix for us when it first comes down, and then we can use that extra mana from Sunken Citadel to make Might token creatures, which count as tokens, they count as artifacts, they fuel all those synergies. We're running 1 Fountainport for a similar reason. It can either pay 3, tap it, pay 1 life to create a 1/1 blue fish creature token, which will work with all of our token synergies, or we can pay 4, tap it, create a treasure token, which not only works with our token synergies, but also triggers our non-creature, non-land permanent synergies with Builder's Talent, and gives us a way to just generate some extra mana if we happen to need it. Or we can actually use it to sacrifice tokens to draw cards by paying 2 mana and tapping it, so we have a way of turning all these crazy tokens we're making into card draw as well. So Fountainport is great. In a perfect world, I'd like to run more copies of this, I think, but I have to be careful that we have enough of our colored mana for the things that we need. So if you do want to alter this deck and iterate on it, that would probably be my first suggestion, is maybe experiment with including some extra copies of Fountainport, because it can be really, really good in this deck. We're also running 1 Fomori Vault, because again, we can put the mana from Sunken Citadel into the Fomori Vault, pay 3, tap it, discard a card, look at the top X cards of our library, where X is the number of artifacts we control. We tend to make a decent amount of artifact tokens. And then we put one of those cards into our hand and the rest on the bottom of our library in a random order. So it's kind of a better, cheaper version of the ability that comes tacked onto Thran Spider to just find some gas. So if we are out of gas, it is a nice usage of that extra Sunken Citadel mana. So I'm running one-ofs of all of these right now because I think they're all worth exploring. But it's very possible that after testing and after playing this enough, You might want to double up on some of these lands and get rid of some of them, but I think for the sake of testing, it's cool to have just one of them each in this deck and really see which one shakes out as the best. We're also running 4 Fabled Passage. It's probably the best dual land, tri-land available to control decks right now, because all of the dual lands right now are either fast lands, which are not that great in 3-color control decks or really any control decks, and pain lands, which are going to be really bad against aggro, and we're up against a ton of aggros. So wherever you can fit Fabled Passage in for control specifically, that's what you want. It's one of the only lands that can come down on turn 4 or on turn 5 and get you an untapped land of whatever color you need. There aren't really any other lands that can do that outside of the pain lands, which are really difficult to run against all of the aggro that we're seeing these days. So 4 Fabled Passage, 4 Inspiring Vantage, 4 Battlefield Forge, and then of course the 2 mountains and the 2 plains. The deck absolutely smashes. I'm in love with it. I'm definitely going to be iterating on it in the future because I think we can make an even better version of this, and I'm toying around with the idea of going 3-color. But even as it stands right now, this version of the deck is nuts, and you can just absolutely take over the board, get so much card advantage. It is just insane. I say insane a lot, but it is just insane. So anyway, we're going to check out the games. Before we do, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video. I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Wonders of the First. Wonders of the First is a brand new collectible card game similar to games like Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, featuring a unique action-based resource economy that helps avoid pitfalls like Mana Flood or Mana Screw, and a battlefield containing multiple realms that unlock over time as you fight for control of the stones. The first 400 card set is called Existence and will launch to retail in the fall, but playtest team starter kits are available to order now. And they haven't forgotten about all you collectors out there. The game contains alternate borderless art variants, as well as highly sought after limited edition numbered prints, culminating in a 1-of-1 stone foil. And the best part is that the developers have a community first approach, with 8 print and play decks available on their website, as well as a version of the game available on Tabletop Simulator, all for free. For more information, be sure to check out wondersccg.com today. That's wondersccg.com. Alright, I'm gonna keep this. We'll play Yotia Declares War on 2. And if we need to be careful, we'll play Thran Spider on 3. And if not, we can play the Forge. Bandit's Talent. I think we get rid of the Elder Dragon War here. Alright, we got Yotia Declares War. Go chapter 1. Make a little boy. You get a Christmas card from Wizards of the Coast. Maybe, gods. Maybe. I think we just discard the expensive stuff, honestly. Well, that's not really going to do anything. So, we'll go Thran Spider. No attacks. More discard. Okay, well, we'll exile a Thran Spider. Hope to land the Forge. But we'll see. He's got 2 cards left, so no dice. He is kind of running out of gas, though. We're going to need to race him. Alright, we'll kill the Warlock. And we'll swing. And we'll end the turn. Legion Extruder is online. I would have believed you. Gods, I would have believed you. Alright, we are going to sack the Ornithopter and get a 3/3 and take 2 from a Bandit's Talent. And then attack. And I guess we just end the turn, right? If he tries to kill one of our artifact creatures, we sack it to the Extruder in response. Ooh, gonna get a challenge from Gods on Thursday. Heck yeah. I mean, having them all helps. Just not as much as some people think. 𝑣𝒂𝒃𝒈r, huh? I think we'll probably kill 𝑣𝒂𝒃𝒈r with a Lightning Helix. Goodbye, 𝑣𝒂𝒃𝒈r. We could sack the Power Stone to make another 3/3. This might not be the right play. We're gonna do it. Because if we have the Power Stone in play, we can use the Extruder and play a 2-drop. Guess we'll just swing, right? Put him at 1. Ooh, he's gonna chump block everything. Alright, Caretaker's Talent is in play. All the Bandits' talents. Oh my god. Resolve. Resolve. That's fine. Let's level up and make a copy of you. Draw a card, and our opponent will scoop. Okay, imperfect. I guess we'll have to prove you right. I will keep 7. This looks fine. We're gonna start. Yeah, we're gonna start with a Fabled Passage, pass the turn, and we're gonna go white. There are only a couple cards in the deck that require double red. There are much more that require double white, so. Fountainport Bell. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, dollar bills. The mod that wants to take everything from me. Alright. Let's see. We got you. Don't really have anything we want to play. I'm gonna pass. I'm just gonna hold up Lightning Helix. I would much rather get the Caretaker's Talent into play before I play the Yotia Declares War. You know what? I want the Forge down first. Let's jam the Forge and smash. It's true, Gods gives back. Gods giveth, and Gods taketh away. Draw me a card. Very nice. Very, very nice. It's kind of the rule. It is kind of the rule. The rule of 2. Deep Cavern Bat. Well, that Deep Cavern Bat is not going to be very happy. You dead no matter what, Deep Cavern Bat. No matter what. But you probably take both Legion Extruders and make it so that I have to get lucky, top deck a land for the Elder Dragon War. Well then, we're gonna draw a card off of the Caretaker's talent first. Interesting. I could make a copy of the 3/1. Which I kind of like. That's what we'll do. Make a copy of the 3/1 that doesn't die. Play the Sunken Citadel. We'll name red, so we can play Elder Dragon War next turn if we want to. We probably don't even need to, though, to be honest. Yotia Declares War kills the bat next turn. Yeah, doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter, bro. Doesn't even matter. Gix, sure. Alright, so we'll take 2. He'll draw a card. So many possibilities. So many possibilities. Hit the 𝐷𝐿𝐁. And then let's pass the turn. I got plans, guys. Alright, we get to do stuff. I forgot to attack. I forgot I can attack! Right? Oh man, I skipped my whole combat. I know I'm playing control and all, but I get to attack. Good grief. Good grief. Alright. Sack you. Get a 3/3. Draw a card. Base power and toughness 4/4. Base power and toughness 4/4. Alright. We will find a plains. One, 2, 3. There's so much we could do. Bandit, stop licking. So much we could do. So much we could do. I just don't know what to actually do. Let's do this. Swing, 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 swing. See what he does. It's 15 damage. If he takes it all, we just kill him with a Legion Extruder. He saw the Legion Extruder in our hand. What is he doing? What is he doing? Alright, that was an imperfect game against imperfect. It's fine. We'll see. I'm gonna keep this. Hey, gift sub coming in from God's Unwanted Child to 𝐺Don12. That does sound like a really cool deck. Can I just call you Dan? Is that cool? Can I call you Dan? I'm gonna call you Dan. Sounds like a cool deck, Dan. We're gonna play Inspiring Vantage. Pass the turn. We've got Builder's Talent, which is really cool. So, I think that's what we're gonna play. Builder's Talent's out. We got a nice 0/4 wall that he's gonna cut down. I mean, that's fine. If Builder's Talent gets to remove a piece of removal from his hand and still have level 2 and level 3 abilities, let's go. Let's go. Alright, we're going to play Caretaker's Talent. I appreciate you, gods. I appreciate you hanging out, Dan. Yes, lizards are very strong. I think if we can cross-pollinate with raccoons, it'll be something special. We'll see. We'll see. So we can't kill the Preacher yet. I think our best bet is just Thran Spider. We're not going to block the Preacher with it, but we do get to draw a card off of the Power Stone. Findor. Is that like Finn and Hodor had a baby? I believe it. I believe it. Blocks. No blocks. Alright, we will fetch a white source. Question is, do I want a Sunfall? Or do I want to start doing shenanigans? We could start doing shenanigans. That could be a thing. Alright, let's do this. Let's level 2, make a copy of the Power Stone token. We're not going to use it yet, though, right? No. No, we're not. Well, we could use it to play the Thran Spider. Let's play another Thran Spider. Get another Power Stone token. Let's play the Legion Extruder. Kill the Dread Knight. Force him to use his turn. And I guess we level this up, huh? Actually, probably should have leveled that up first. Playing the Legion Extruder could have got us a counter. Alright, Soul Swing. We're learning. I'm learning how I should sequence things. It's very easy to miss stuff with this deck. There's a lot going on. It's true. God speaks the truth. Is he going to use 2 removal spells to kill my Thran Spider? Sick. All about it. I'm all about it. See, now we can use these Power Stones to level up our Builder's Talent and our Caretaker's Talent, which is awesome. 2, 3, 4, 5. We kind of need to Sunfall, don't we? We kind of need to Sunfall. I think we kind of just need to Sunfall. So let's just do it. We'll draw a card off of Caretaker's talent. And we'll pass the turn. So much value here now. Four cards left, plus the 2 Virtue of Persistence, but he's 1 mana off from playing those. Restless Cottage coming in. Sure. You do what you need to do. Do we block with an incubator token? I think we take it. I want to keep these Power Stones. I'm going to sack the Incubate token from the Sunfall to get a 3/3 and also draw a card off of Caretaker's talent. Alright, Forge comes down. Caretaker's talent comes down. See, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 mana left. Let's just level this thing up. Let's draw some cards. Give me them cards. Give me them cards. Let's swing for 10. Look at it go. Look at it go, boys and girls. It's true. It's true, gods. That's coming. Look at all this. Just look at it all. It's insane. It's bananas. It's... I might even go as far as to say it's banana hammocks. You know? Let's do that. Yeah, we just... insane value. Just insane, insane value. 3 Inspiring Vantage. Well, I guess this is the best time to have them, right? Get them down now. Alright, we'll keep 7. Play out the Vantage. Alright, we're going to play out Builder's Talent. Looks pretty good. Guess we'll do Forge, right? Get off to a whopping good start. Swing 1. A 3/3. A 3/3. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. Upgrade you. Yeah, we'll just do it like this. We'll kill you. And we'll swing 2. I am so excited for Duskmourn. He plays another Lookout, we draw another Lightning Helix. How cute. How cute. I mean, I guess we just do it, right? What else are we doing with our lives? Alright, we got a Mycosynth Gardens. That could be another Forge. But then that also means we're further away from our Sunfalls. And our level 3 on Builder's Talent, so I don't think we're going to. We'll swing in. And I think we'll play another Thran Spider. This will give us a Power Stone token. And the Power Stone token is going to let us have 5 mana to level up Builder's Talent. Demolition Field, sure. We'll just grab a Plains. I don't think we're going to need the Gardens. I mean, I guess we just swing, right? He scoops. He's got nothing to deal with it. I'm going to keep 7. This looks good. Alright, we'll just start with the Plains. Pass the turn. We've got a lot of options here. He takes Lightning Helix. I mean, that's kind of good for us, right? Because now we only have to waste our 2 damage thing on the bat instead of our 3 damage thing. So we can save this for something with 3 toughness. Yeah, he should have taken the Legion Extruder and forced us to waste the Lightning Helix. That's what he should have done. We're a little stuck on mana, but we have plenty of 2-drops, so I'm actually not that worried about it. We'll just jam a Builder's Talent. The cup I'm using, well, here's the thing. The one I'm using right now is specifically small on purpose. This is like the smallest I use. But these ones fit in my cup holder that we have in the couch. And all of the bigger coffee mugs I have don't. So normally I actually am using a much bigger coffee mug when I'm streaming, because I don't use the beverage holders. Beverage. I have a plug-in coffee warmer thing over here. It's like a circular thing, and when you put the coffee mug on it, it senses the weight and it turns on, and it like heats it, keeps it hot. So when I'm streaming, I normally have my big one, but I was drinking it earlier when I was on the couch, so I had the smaller one. Alright, another Deep Cavern Bat, another Legion Extruder. We're going to do it like this. We're going to get all the value in the world. That's what we're going to do. I'll make a note, gods. Must be man-sized coffee cups. Alright, we get to waste a cut down, that's cool. Chapter 2, we still tap the Legion Extruder and kill the Deep Cavern Bat. Unless we want to kill 𝑇𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ with the Lightning Helix. I think we actually need to do that. So that's what we'll do. We'll wait on the Deep Cavern Bat. We've got another Legion Extruder, so I'm not even worried about it. Look at this. We're stuck on 2. We're still absolutely decimating our opponent. Not even worried about it. Alright, swing 4. And then we are going to play another Legion Extruder, kill the Deep Cavern Bat, and play the Fabled Passage and end the turn. We just need to get to 5 for Sunfall and we'll be fine. Until then, we have to just keep slowing down the 𝑇𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ. Luckily, we have a lot more card advantage than him. Don't take the Sunfall. We need to get to that Sunfall. Okay. It's fine. But we really need to get to that Sunfall. We will discard Builder's Talent. That's going to be kind of worthless for now. Come on. Your go. Donnie D on my backup. Put the crack up. Feel the vibrations. Come on, come on. Feel it, feel it.
I got you good vibrations.
Yo, our opponent, obnoxious. Alright. Not a whole lot we can do here. But we can play Thran Spider, which will give us a Power Stone that we can use on the Extruder, potentially. And that's not awful. I think we're going to have to discard the Thousand Moon Smithy, because I don't see that being relevant against his board state. Plus, we could probably just bring it back with Builder's Talent later. We want Archangel Elspeth so that we can play it next turn if we top deck a land. And we want Sunfall because that's what we need to build to. We need to kill 𝑇𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ while we're still alive. Alright, well, unfortunately, we can't do everything we want. We can do this, though.
I am a shining blaze in the dark.
-2, make this into a 4/6. That could be really good. Does make us a bit susceptible if he has a way to deal with the spider.
You've earned my blessing.
But I mean, even then, he has to swing at the Elspeth, which buys us a turn, right? Five. We're so close. We're so close. Oh, right. He gets to get rid of the thing. He loses his 𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒈, but he can probably just flip it anyway, right? That's okay. Virtue of Persistence, that's fine. Shielded. She-old red. Well, I guess we're drawing. Mycosynth Gardens. Yowza. Well. We're gonna have to go level 3 on Builder's Talent. What do we get back that's relevant? What do we get back that's relevant? We could kill the Deep Cavern Bat. That's not very relevant. I guess we get the Thousand Moon Smithy. And then we'll also make a 1/1 lifelinker to make the Thousand Moon Smithy token a little bit bigger. So now he's gonna have to have removal for the 6/6. Alright, he trades. He must have another Shieldred. Right? No, he just plays Virtue. I mean, that's fine. Tap 5. Problem is we can't do anything if we do that. But what can we do if we don't do that? We could use the Legion Extruders to make 3/3s. We could make a Mirrex token. Honestly, it's probably just worth it. I think it's just worth it. Make a 1/1. Play the land. Pass the turn. We can either make a Mirrex token, or we can make a copy of Legion Extruder if we really want to. Which I don't think we want to. Plays a Shieldred. Plays a Go for the Throat. Yeah. What do we do about that? I think we're just dead, huh? Think we're just dead. Yeah, there's nothing we can do, unfortunately. So we're gonna go to 2. If my Legion Extruder wasn't tapped, I could make a 3/3. But unfortunately, it is. Is there anything I can do? Is there anything I can do? No. No, there isn't. I'm dead. Stupid Shieldred still holding the entire format hostage. So this kind of looks okay. I'll keep 7. We can keep this. Alright, Duress. What is he gonna hit? A Forge? Good to know. So he's playing very defensively. So we should try to be aggressive. If we can. Alright, We'll get out a Builder's Talent. 0-4 wall, let's go. I'm happy you're here with us as well, Grixis. We got a Lily. She's gonna make us discard. I have a feeling we're not gonna need Sunfall. But I also... Eternal Wanderer is really expensive, right? I guess I'll dump the Sunfall. I think he's playing control. Do we do 2 damage to the Lily? I think we do. Just slow it down.
Regret that. Drop it.
Making me discard a card. Let's discard a Wanderer, actually. Because level 3 Builder's Talent can just get it back. Which is kind of sick. He takes the Builder's Talent. But we've got a Sunken Citadel here. We'll name White. Do we just kill the Deep Cavern Bat? I kind of like the idea of doing this. We are a whopping 1 mana away from getting the Eternal Wanderer out of our yard.
I've always hated.
Keep the O2. It's just more relevant right now. Plays another Deep Cavern Bat, sure. Tap any number. Here's what we're gonna do.
Sorry, I'm not interested in dying today.
Level up the Builder's Talent. Get back an Eternal Wanderer.
Try to best me.
We could get rid of the Deep Cavern Bats. Exile an artifact or creature. Yeah, that seems pretty good.
I'll handle this one.
That seems pretty good. Right. Put a counter on the Thopter. Wow. Yeah, this deck is sweet. This deck is sweet. We've got a Cruel Claw. What are we turning into a 4/4? I guess you. Seems fine. Oh boy. Yeah. It's just over. Didn't even get to kill it with our Lightning Helix. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.